A very good afternoon to you and welcome to another edition of Tough Enough. My name is Andrew Riggs. As usual, we want to thank you for staying tuned to our station here at Safe TV2 for another edition of your favorite show in the afternoon, Tough Enough. Are you tough enough? This afternoon I have with me a very important and one of our own, a gentleman who have been in the news recently on this whole parking meter situation. And I know many of you want to know what's happening. Well, I have the man in the studio with us, and he's going to answer all your questions as much as possible, well, as best as he can. I know that he's capable of doing that. And you can call in at the relevant time. We're going to tell you to call, and you can ask him some questions as well. Mr. Ifa Kush, the head man that is leading this team for the parking meter situation here in Georgetown, Guyana. Mr. Kush, good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
So the question a lot of persons want to know is, who is Mr. Ifa Kush?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm a Guyanese nationalist, a Guyanese patriot, and someone who, having enjoyed the benefits and opportunities provided me as a young person growing up in Guyana, who wants to give back and provide the same opportunities to young people in Guyana today that I enjoyed yesterday. And that's the long and short of it. I attended Bedford Methodist School, elementary school. I attended North Georgetown Government Secondary School. I enjoyed the free education that was offered. As a matter of fact, had it not been for the policy of free education in Guyana, I would not have been able to attend high school. Because tuition back in those days was, about $35, $40 a term. And for my father, that was impossible, to meet. And because of the policy of free education in Guyana back then, I was able to attend high school. And fast forward to 2016, here I am. And so I think it is important, those of us of our generation who enjoyed those benefits in Guyana back then, to give back wherever we could. And that's what the Smart City Solutions parking meter project is all about.
So you started this company, Smart City Solution, for that purpose, basically?
Yes. The idea germinated with National Parking Systems in 1995. There's an African saying, when you've identified a problem, you set yourself a task. So in 1994, I identified a problem in Georgetown. Traffic gridlock, congestion, pollution, and complaints by citizens that the city, the municipality, the government did not have enough money to provide the services that it was mandated to provide. I recall as a little boy, my mother taking me to the creche, for instance, which it's still there, but I don't know how well it's functioning. But I was taken to the creche, where I was taken care of during the day. It's a municipal operation. I recall the All Boys Town Healthcare Center. I recall the Merriman's Mall. I recall playing in the alleyways that were clean. So we played cricket and soccer and football and that kind of thing. So when we were growing up in Guyana, Georgetown was indeed a garden city. It was a beautiful place. Then, for some odd reason, as times got harder and resources became scarcer, there was no money to deliver the services and amenities that the city fathers and mothers were mandated to deliver. And so in 1994, 1995, when I identified a problem, gridlock, pollution, congestion, no money, I returned to the United States and I made calls and forged some synergies with some strategic partners. And out of that came National Parking Systems. And with my strategic partners, I submitted with National Parking Systems, which was incorporated in Guyana in 1995, a proposal to the City Council to install parking meters in the city of Georgetown. That proposal was approved in 1996. However, unfortunately, the government at the time refused to sign, the central government refused to sign off on it. And so it remained in abeyance for 20 years. Upon the election of the new administration in 2015, I resubmitted the proposal for reconsideration. It was reconsidered. This time I was able to put together an even stronger collaborative team. And out of that was formed Smart City Solutions. And this is where we are.
And I'm glad you made that point, because now you're hearing of Astrobi, who had made an agreement with City Hall as well in 1997. Now you're saying that your own was there since 1995. So you were there before Astrobi's.
Well, my understanding from the principles of Astrobi is that they, according to them, they received a contract or an agreement in 2007.
Right.
However, the town clerk, Mr. Royston King, addressed that in his press conference a week or so ago, in which he said that there was absolutely no agreement. So I'm not going to dwell on that. I think the town clerk has addressed it comprehensively. And anyone who has any questions about whether or not there's some agreement between Astrobi and the City Council ought to speak with the town clerk.
Did you have consultations with stakeholders in Guyana on this parking meter deal? Did you consult with anybody else?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we did meet with the Private Sector Commission. My partners and I met with the Private Sector Commission about a week or two ago, and gave them the opportunity to ask all the questions they needed to ask, and we answered all of the questions that they asked. So yes, we did consult with them and share our views and entertained their opinions on this project.
I want to jump to some recent concerns that have been, coming up in the media recently. There have been some concerns by many in society that about this deal. The Private Sector Commission that you had consultation with is asking for full public debate on the proposed installation of parking meters in the capital. And in their statement on Saturday, they said that the contracting company and the contract details are blanketed in secrecy and appeared to be questionable. It was also reported by President Granger on Friday, where the president stated that on his public interest show that the fee might be too burdensome on the citizens of Georgetown. And the British High Commissioner recently came out and said, that is Mr. Quinn, said that the parking meter deal lacked transparency and arrogance. Right? And you know that the parking meter, the government has asked to review the parking meter contract with the Attorney General and the Finance Minister. With all these concerns raised, why have you not, said to City Hall, let us put this thing on hold and allow the government to pronounce on it, and so why are you still going ahead with the deal, knowing that all these big pronouncements are being raised? Secrecy and all of that.
Well, it's
a lot in one.
That's
but
a lot.
Let us talk about the first concern with the PSC and the concern raised by the public.
Actually, I prefer to deal with the British ambassador first.
Okay.
And he talks about arrogance. I find it highly offensive that this ambassador,
Mr. Quinn,
would insinuate himself into a local issue. It's not even a national issue. It's a local issue. And I think that's supercilious and offensive on his part. He's an ambassador, and he needs to mind his own business and stick to his diplomatic mandate. And that is interacting and interfacing with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and not getting involved in a local municipal issue. There's no Guyanese ambassador, African ambassador, any ambassador for that matter, who can insinuate himself in some local issue in London or Birmingham. I think Mr. Quinn ought to mind his own business and stick to his diplomatic mandate. And if he has any comments about anything, he should interface with our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Carl Greenwich. So I'd like to put that to rest.
And Mr. Granger's concerned about the parking meter deal as well. He's saying that it might be too burdensome, the cost, the fee per driver.
I think His Excellency President David Granger was misquoted in that particular piece. I do not think that His Excellency the President was addressing the issue with regards to the burdensome nature of it, with the full understanding of the cost involved. Because, and in fact, I insist that he was misquoted, because if all President Granger is about a phone call away from the town clerk, the mayor, council clerk, who would clarify these issues. And I think the journalists who covered and reported on the president's statement ought to revisit their notes and clarify what the president said.
Have you ever had any meeting with the government officials besides City Hall? Have you spoken with the Minister of Communities, Mr. Ronald Bolkan, or anybody in government during your consultations?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And it never really struck you why you didn't do that? Or
Well, because as Minister Harmon pointed out in his statement, the central government defers to the local government, the municipalities, on all of these local issues. The central government isn't interested, according to Minister Harmon and according to the President, in intervening and overreaching in the affairs of the Georgetown municipality. It is the desire of the President and the central government to allow local governments, local councils, to raise their own money, generate their own revenues so that they can deliver the services and amenities that our citizens have come to expect. And so it wasn't necessary in my negotiations with the city government to step up to the central government, because the central government is not interested in getting involved in these local issues.
And talking about that as well, another concern that has been raised is that it was reported in Kaiche News as well that you had, that even Mr. Duncan, the deputy mayor, had stated that you had an office in Manhattan. Did you ever have an office in Manhattan?
Well, this idea, as I said, germinated here in Guyana 20 years ago. Moved to New York, where I established a presence to interface and interact with strategic partners. Once that was accomplished and the strategic partners were identified and a joint venture company, Smart City Solutions, was formed, then the location shifted to Mexico City, where our major operations are. And so those who went searching in Manhattan for something, obviously they wouldn't find it, because now we are operating out of Mexico.
But you had an office there?
Absolutely. I think it's important to understand that Smart City Solutions and our joint venture partners, we're not a rum and roti, black pudding and sauce kind of operation.
Okay.
It is a global operation. Our partners are involved in not only in parking meters, but also in energy, renewable energy, real estate development, hotel development, mining. So it's a large consortium. And those who are looking for some address or something, this is not that kind of party. It's a different kind of party. It's a larger party.
Okay, so if you're saying to us now that if anybody wants to find anything about Smart City Solution or NPS, where should they go and get information on that?
Let them head to Mexico City. But NPS, of course, is now incorporated into Smart City Solutions. Smart City Solutions is the company with whom the city has signed a contract.
Okay.
The city has not signed a contract with NPS.
Okay.
The contract is with Smart City Solutions.
All right.
And that's the company now that's moving forward with this project.
Let us talk about Mexico. You were in Mexico. The mayor and team was in Mexico. Tell us exactly. We heard from the mayor's side. Tell us exactly what was the purpose of going to Mexico and inviting the mayor and team to go there. What was some of the things that they were involved in when they were there?
They went there essentially to see the operations, the Mexico operations, or call center, or enforcement operations. To see the meters that are now being programmed to as a matter of fact, I have one of the, if you take a look here, one of the things that the mayor saw was the coupon.
Okay.
That will, as you can see, it says mayor and councilors of the city of Georgetown.
Yes.
Our meters are being programmed right now in Mexico City in preparation to be delivered here in Georgetown. So that's what the mayor, this is what the mayor came to see. And also see how we are operating. The team also visited Panama to see our operations, because there's a lot of fog of nonsense out there. suggesting that we don't know what we're doing and the company doesn't exist and the company doesn't have a track record. Mayor Patricia Chase Green, Town Clerk Royston King, Chairman of the Finance Committee Oscar Clark, Senior Councillor Junior Garrett, they bore witness and they saw everything in terms of our capabilities, our capacity, and our ability to deliver a state-of-the-art, efficient on-street paid parking system in the city of Georgetown.
Very well said, sir. Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, you're looking at Toughing Up. We are bringing to you a live broadcast here in our studios in Georgetown, Guyana, right here in South Ramveld. And we are having with us the head man in charge of the Smart City Solution. And he is giving us an update on what's happening with the deal. He's giving us, clearing out the doubts, because there's a lot of doubts about the deal. And he's here to clear that up with you and to also give you the good stuff. So let's talk about the good stuff now. Your company will be investing $10 million US direct investment. Tell us about, who will benefit from this deal. And there are some people who are saying that you are fleecing, you're planning to fleece the Guyanese people with this deal. Is there any fleecing? Are you planning to fleece us?
No, absolutely not. The first people who will be directly benefiting from this project will be our young people. Mm-hmm. There's a high youth unemployment in Guyana. I don't know, is it 30, 40%, 50%? It's very high. Our project will move in the right direction in terms of reducing that level of unemployment. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a minimum of 100 new jobs, well-paying, unionized jobs that will be created. And the unionized, I think, is the most significant.
And these are full-time jobs?
Full-time jobs. Minimum wage will be starting off at in excess of $100,000 a month. The jobs will be unionized, as I said, which means that they will be entitled to benefits, which also means that their labor rights will be respected, that if any of our workers are assaulted, there's any sexual assault, any problems on the job, any harassment on the job, the union will be there to represent them. They will not be out there on their own. They cannot be fired at will. They have to be fired for cause. They'll be protected. It will be sustainable. They'll be able to take care of themselves. They'll be able to take care of their families. They can be aspirational on the job because if they perform, they will be promoted. And of course, as they are promoted up the chain, their salaries will be even more. There will be a transferal of technology, transferal of know-how. Those are the direct beneficiaries. The young people will be the direct beneficiaries of this project. But let me add. In addition to the direct employment that we will be creating, we'll also be creating indirect employment. So, for instance, the contractor that we will hire to install the machines, he has employees that he will be hiring. The contractor we will hire to install the signs, the no parking signs, the parking hours, etc. He also has employees that he will be hiring. So it's not only the 100 jobs that we'll be creating directly, and a minimum of that, but even the several hundred other jobs that will be created by the contractors we'll be hiring. So that's a very, very significant.
Well said. Tell us about the tier of workers that will be employed with Smart City. How does it break down? Who are you employing?
We have our enforcement agents. We have our secretary, their administrative staff, the office manager. We have our call center people. The people will be sitting in the call center, taking calls from consumers, from drivers who have issues with whatever. And we have our managers who will be managing overall. We have our enforcement manager. In fact, our enforcement manager has already been identified. He is Mr. John Daniels, who is the former deputy traffic chief here in Georgetown. So Mr. John Daniels is going to be our enforcement executive, and he'll be responsible for overall enforcement. And
then you have a team to promote your stuff, to promote Smart City throughout the country as well?
Oh, of course.
I'm just checking, man. I'm just checking. That is, so the word out there is, who will be employing these people?
Who will be employing them?
Yes.
Well, Smart City Solutions.
Yes, the recruitment agency will be doing this.
Oh, there's no recruitment. There wouldn't be any kind of recruitment agency. We'll be hiring them directly.
When would this employment?
Within the next few weeks, we'll be posting advertisements and in the newspapers, and people will be able to apply. Right now, we're negotiating for office space.
All right.
It's finding office space is kind of it's kind of a challenge. A challenge in the sense that in terms of location.
Okay.
We're looking for a particular kind of location that's central, that kind of thing, so that or people or enforcement agents, when they come to work in the morning, they can be dispatched and get to the different locations quickly.
How will these enforcement agencies officers be identified?
Oh, they'll be wearing uniforms. They'll have uniforms, and we'll be working in collaboration with the city police.
Okay.
In close collaboration with the city police. So, for instance, it's the city police who will be writing the tickets.
Oh.
If you happen to be out of compliance, you pull up to a parking space, you pay for half an hour, and then you do not return in time to remove your car. If the police sees that the sticker here, for instance, this basically says, look, you paid to park at 14:59. That's when it started, and it will expire. It will expire at 14:59. That's what it says here. It will expire at 2:59, right? So if the police, the city police, and this will be placed on your dashboard, right here on your dashboard. All right. So the police will come, check, and see that it is now 3:05, and there's no new ticket there. So he will write a ticket because you're now out of compliance.
All
And
right.
at that point, once a ticket is written, a message is then sent to our or to Command Central, where our enforcement agents will come to make sure that you resolve this problem.
Let's talk a little bit about the parking meters themselves. When would the first set of parking meters be arriving in the country?
In September, maybe the first or second week of September, we start installing them.
Demonstration?
Oh, the demonstration meter is already here. We will be rolling it out in a few days so that citizens can interface with it and get to understand how it's working. Yeah.
So tell us about the workings of this parking meter. What will it do? How would it be operated in terms of, the technical aspect of it? I mean, in some countries, they have parking meters set up in different blocks and it cover a wide area. What would person expected to do when they go to a parking meter? What is the workings around it?
Well, you're correct. These are multi-space parking meters. So each meter will cover approximately 10 to 15 spaces.
Okay.
So what happens is the driver pulls up, he takes out his card, he has to buy a card from one of our distributors. We're using NFC technology, near field communications technology, contactless cards. So you pull up to the parking meter, you take out your card, you flash it in front of the meter. Now, each card will be denominated in 1,000 denominations, $5,000 denominations, $10,000 denominations, etc. So you flash your card in front of the parking meter. You punch in the time that you want to stay there. If it's $150 worth of time or whatever, that will be deducted from the card, and you go your way.
All right.
And now, if you're standing in line, and let's say you paid for half an hour, all right, and you're standing in line in the bank, and it turns out that you're going to be there for an hour. It will not be necessary for you to leave the line and run back to the machine to put in more money. You can stay right there in line and pay.
Wow.
And from your cell phone.
All
All right. And another feature that's pretty attractive, and it will be attractive for business people. So if John Public has a haberdashery store selling whatever, shoes or whatever, clothing or whatever, and he's part of our program, when a driver pulls up in front of the machine that's located in close proximity to Mr. John Public's haberdashery store, if Mr. John Public's haberdashery store is part of our program, the machine will generate a coupon, a discount coupon, which will encourage the driver to go to Mr. John Public's haberdashery store and purchase something at a discount, 5% off, 10% off, or something.
All right.
Like
So you're saying stores will also have benefits with this parking meter and as well as drivers?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I see. So it's a twofold thing.
Yes, of course, and those are the tangible benefits. The intangible benefits are reduced pollution because of the reduced congestion. Because some people may decide, look, I don't want to pay to park, so I'll drive in with my buddy and my neighbor. So they'll carpool. all right? So there will be less cars on our streets. And of course, with less cars on the street, there's less congestion, less pollution, less congestion, less gridlock. So there'll be a freer flow of cars moving through our city. And of course, these meters are solar powered. So there's no carbon emissions. There are no greenhouse gases that will be emitted. So the carbon footprint will be zero with these machines. And then I think the other significant benefit of this project is the revenues that the city of Georgetown will be able to generate. And those revenues will be plowed back into our community to build to fix the potholes, to clean the drains, to beautify our parks, to build daycare centers, to build healthcare centers, to build libraries. That's the way a modern city is governed. That's the way a modern city functions. So those are the kinds of benefits that we're talking about.
Tell us about, as well, about minibus parks and taxi car parks and business places or government places where, cars are parked. Let us say Main Street, let's say Camp Street, where you have the GRA there, a lot of car parked on the road in front of the GRA. How will that? What is the matrix with that in terms of parking and in front of government buildings and so on? Would there be any cost incurred there?
Well, let's deal with the minibuses and the taxis, etc. There are going to be special rates for those operators.
Okay.
And we're negotiating with the city council, to deal with that. The mayor and the city council.
Yes, the minibus parks.
Yeah. They will not be paying the same rates as the regular folks. In other words, they don't, so we're working out a special kind of rate for the minibuses and the taxis, etc. In the different parks. You mentioned GRA. You're saying the people who park outside of GRA
Yeah, staff members.
They're employees of GRA. We are also, and that's part of the conversation we had with the Private Sector Commission. We are prepared to work with the Private Sector Commission and work with government agencies to work out some sort of a package kind of arrangement for people who drive into the city and who have to park on the street. The whole purpose of a parking meter on-street paid parking is to maximize rotation. So if you want to pull into Republic Bank, for instance, you must be able to find a place to park, and so that you can go in, transact your business, and move. And that's the focus. The primary focus is to get people in and out of these businesses. The stores, the banks, the government agencies. Folks who want to go to GRA, for instance, and get their driver's license or pay their taxes or whatever the case might be. It takes half an hour, it takes an hour or whatever the case might be. You pull in, you pay to park for an hour, and then you pull out and leave so someone else can get that space and go in and transact their business. The way it is now, people are parking, it's free, it's a free-for-all. They park, they pull up a space, take up a space, and if you want to go to GRA to transact a half an hour, 45-minute business, there's no way for you to park. And you're driving all over the place, trying to find a place to park, and in driving all over the place, you're emitting a lot of carbon monoxide, greenhouse gases, creating a lot of pollution. So that's the idea behind parking, the rationale behind on-street paid parking is to control that, is to get people to understand that, the city space, the city land, because that belongs to the city. It's a very limited space, and it has to be used, judiciously, and that's what paid parking does.
And the biggest one of the big concerns you just raised, I wanted to jump back on that, is that we're hearing a whole set of different costs being pelt in the media. Some saying it's going to be $500 an hour, some saying it's going to be $300 an hour, some saying it's going to be $200 an hour. What is the agreement with you and City Hall on the costs for parking in the city?
Well, we're still working on that, but here's what I can tell you. It will not be $500 an hour. In fact, that has never been on the table. $500 an hour has never been on the table. It will not be $360 an hour, and it will not be $300 an hour. So we're working out the details, but it will not be $500 an hour. It will not be $300. It will not be $500 an hour. The way that there's a parking lot on Regent Street, close to Camp Street there, between Camp and Alexander, I guess, and the drivers there, they pay $500 an hour. Our rate will not be $500 an hour. And then there's someone who tried to establish a parking lot, the parking field on East Street, and the rate that he charged was $360 an hour. That was a dismal failure. Our rate will not be that. So everyone relaxed. It's not going to be an exorbitant amount of money at all.
I want you to talk to our audience a little bit about the myth, because a lot of our viewers and persons in Georgetown and who are hearing about this parking meter situation, they are thinking that it will be, you speak a little bit about it, they're saying that it's going to be a burden on the city. Who needs a parking meter? Who needs to pay for parking in Georgetown? And yet, some of the same persons who are speaking about it, when they go to this international country, they pay for parking meter without even a thought. Explain to our audience, give us some more information in terms of the benefits, some more, or just dispel the myth that parking is bad for the city of Georgetown.
Well, let me address the question of burden. There are many things that are burdensome in any society. In the Guyanese society, for instance, school fees are burdensome. Light bills are burdensome. Water bills are burdensome. Taxes are burdensome. If we take this argument, this burdensome argument, its logical extreme, we'll pay for nothing, and we'll all have a free ride. But that's not reality. Life is not about a free lunch. Many Guyanese travel abroad, and they marvel at the beautiful parks in the great cities of the world, New York City, Chicago, Shanghai, Beijing, London, Toronto. They marvel at the beautiful parks. They marvel at the wide, clean streets. They marvel at the clean drains. They marvel at the healthcare centers. They marvel at the tennis centers and the amenities that are offered by the different cities. What they need to understand, these services, these amenities, aren't provided magically. It is a result of the citizens of these great cities coming together and putting their shoulders to the wheel and contributing to the public good, contributing to the common good. The notion that we in Guyana can make demands on the city of Georgetown, can make demands on the government of Georgetown without contributing to the pot, so to speak, it's ludicrous. Back in the day, there was a reggae song, nobody want to plant the corn, but everybody want to raid the barn. And that's the situation here. Nobody wants to plant the corn, but everybody want to raid the barn. We have to contribute. That's just the way it is globally. And if we can adjust and adapt to the responsibilities of citizenship in other parts of the world. You go to New York and London, Guyanese fly there, and Toronto and these cities, they have no objection to paying paying to park, paying taxes, paying sales taxes, paying to get into the subway systems. Those rates of paying to drive across the bridges, those rates go up regardless of how people feel, so that they can have better subways and have better bridges and have better parks and have better services from the city. And so citizens of those countries and Guyanese who go to those countries, they accept their responsibilities of citizenship. And it is time Guyanese citizens accept responsibilities of citizenship. It is time Guyanese citizens begin to understand the need to have a sense of civic responsibility, civic discipline, in order for us to move our country forward, in order for our country to modernize, in order for our country to be competitive, in order for our country to be attractive to others to come here and live. Because unless we do that, we will continue to wallow in this type of backwardness, in this type of dysfunction that doesn't augur well for the future of our country.
Well, we're speaking with Mr. Ifa Kush. He is the head man running the parking meter situation here in Georgetown, Guyana, and we're discussing the doubts and the benefits. We have spoken a lot about the doubts, about the whole thing, and we're talking about the good stuff, the benefits of parking meter systems in Guyana. we're going to open the lines at this time, and we're going to ask the operator to put the number on the screen so that we can have you call in. And if you have a question you want to ask Mr. Kush, well, there you have it. You're listening. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Al Shalamti.
Shalamti Al. Dr. Yates, good afternoon,
This is the
sir.
kind voice of Dr. Yates calling. And thank you for bringing Mr. Kush on board. Mr. Kush,
Yes, sir.
you have a powerful name, sir.
I know. Thank you so much. But thank you. I know that. I know that. Thank you so much.
And I do hope, well, first of all, let me say thanks for living out your name.
I love someone who
the reason I
understands
call it because of
the historical gravitas of my name.
About civil responsibility. And fortunately, in the school system, ethics and civics are not taught at a very young age. So if civics and ethics is taught part of the curriculum, then we have a better society having a standing and not an understanding of how we contribute to a society. And that's really lacking about teaching ethics, civics, responsibility that people were supposed to actually learn at a very young age. I'm so glad you hit on that point.
Thank you.
About our responsibility towards the nation in a civic manner, and also when it comes to the idea of learning locally what's happening outside. We can adjust to things outside, but right here in Guyana, we complain more than we tribute towards making our homeland better. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you, Mr. Weeks, for having the program. And Mr. Weeks, before I go, let me say thank you so much for the previous night program you had with those gentlemen. Oh, what a powerful topic.
Thank you, sir.
I listened, I learned. I'm so glad that you had those men on it. But fortunately, you had no females on there.
Well, the first time I had a female, the first night I had a female there, co-hosting with me. And, you know, but we're going to bring you on one night, huh? Don't be afraid. We're going to have you come
For the
one
work
night.
you do, Mr. Weeks, I'm so glad for this network, and I'm glad for the management and the staff of this network is bringing a lot of programs to Guyana, because to me, listening to you guys, it's exactly about reform education.
Well, thank you, Dr. Yates.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Well, yeah, there you have it. You're listening, and they understand civil responsibility, and that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Caller, you on the air? All right. I'm not sure about that last number, but you can call. Caller, you on the air?
Good afternoon to you.
I need to turn the volume if you set down.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
First, I would like to say good afternoon to the gentleman.
Mr. Kush.
And the parking lot.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. The parking lot in E Street. Is it made by Main City Council's parking lot?
I am not sure, but I don't think so. Based on our report and our research, no.
Hello?
No, it is not.
Hello, I'm listening to you, sir.
It is not. Based on our research, no.
Not based on your research.
Yeah.
I think you should check that back. I think that parking lot, I think it's Main City Council's parking lot. And secondly, concerning the parking meter, you were saying that they are considering the minibus, hire cars, and the first employees of GRA.
Well, government employees across the board, eh? Those who park in front of offices and so on.
Okay, to pay different amounts, different prices for their parking. How soon will we hear how much those persons will pay?
Yeah, we are working and negotiating right now with the mayor and city council.
Okay, sir.
By the time the meters are rolled out, you'll be apprised.
Okay, sir. And so one other question. Could you say we have the Berbice River Bridge, of which the employee is given a percentage. The persons that give the contract is given a percentage. We have we had the hydro project where that would have been, we have GT&T, of which the government had, I think it's 20% shares leave back. But my question is, what will be the shares between yourself and the mayor and city council?
The mayor and city council will be earning 20% of the gross revenues from this project.
20%, sir?
Of the gross revenues.
And over how much years, sir?
49 years.
Hello?
49 years.
I'm not hearing you, sir.
49 years.
49 years?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. That's my question to you. Good afternoon,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you. Thank you. So a lot of persons will be employed with you for 49 years and more. Wow. Callers, you can call in and you can ask Mr. Kush. We have a little time remaining, and 100 jobs plus for young people employed with Smart City Solutions.
Yes, 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 yes.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon and to you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Mr. Kush.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yes, this is Oh Beautiful Guyana. But
Oh, my apologies. I think we got a little disconnection. You can call us back. I don't know what happened. All right. Sorry about that. Yes, you can still call us. The number's at the bottom of the screen, 218-4949, and you can get into us.
While we're waiting for next call.
Yes, caller, you there?
On the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, caller. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon to you again. Oh Beautiful Guyana. But for nearly 3 decades, it was not anymore Oh Beautiful Guyana, because Guyanese have sunk so low to indecency and lawlessness, sunk so low not wanting to keep the environment clean, not wanting to pay for anything, just want everything free, being involved with so many illicit activities that they cannot see that when there is a project, how useful and beneficial it will be for the entire country.
Do you agree with the project? Do you think it's a good project?
Yes, I'm coming to that. I have listened to Mr. Kush now, and I understood everything he said and have realized, yes, it's a good project. One thing that was bothering me from all the comments I was hearing is the cost, but he has cleared it up. Because remember, we do not have a very good economy right now. Our economy is not so stable right now, and cost of living is very high. Therefore, in planning projects, we have to be careful of the cost so as not to make that project fall apart or to make it impossible for people to. So yes, Mr. Kush.
Yes, ma'am.
Good project, and I'm happy for the amount of youth, because I'm a youth advocate, I'm a senior citizen, who will be able to benefit from those parking meters being installed. One thing I must say to you, please do not let people like me feel embarrassed. Do not let people like me down. When we support good projects, we need that the people who are involved commit themselves, be dedicated, and do not be involved in corruption. That's all I have to say right
Thank
now.
you so much, and rest assured that I will not let you down. Believe me, I am from a generation, when I hear about your commitment, you being a youth advocate,
Yes, I'm a youth advocate.
I recall when I was growing up, it really moves me to tears sometimes. But when I was growing up, and many of my contemporaries, all of my contemporaries were growing up in Guyana back in the 70s, there were so many opportunities for us.
Yes.
So many ways in which young people who faltered were captured and
Yes.
placed on the correct path.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that doesn't exist today.
Oh,
And what we want to do is make our contribution with Smart City Solutions to put our young people back onto a correct path,
Yes.
so that they can begin to lead productive lives and
Yes.
successful lives.
And I must also endorse what Dr. Yates said. We need to go back into the schools and the children to be patriotic, teach them moral standards and ethics. We need to do that. In our times, we were taught those things in school, but before school, we were taught at home. let me divert for 1 second. Social cohesion has to start from the home. Social cohesion in my time and your time started from the home. We were taught to respect our neighbor. If she was Indian, or we used to say Kuli at the time. And you couldn't say Kuli in front of your parents nor in front of your neighbor. When we were children, when we together, we want to quarrel with each other, we would use the term, but we had to be respectful. No religious body or no ministry of social cohesion can bring social cohesion in this country. We have to start with it at home and in the schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Andrew,
Yes,
I am compelled, I have to make a comment here.
Go ahead, sir.
Before we take another call. I was raised by a very strict father, and he taught me to always respect my elders. And I recall when I was about 14 or 15 years old, I asked my father, because, you know, we think when you're 14 or 15, you think you know more than your parents, you know. And so he says, and we were talking about respecting elders and stuff. I said, well, why? Why should I respect my elders? I mean, it's old people. He said, because with age comes wisdom. As I got older, I added a couple of other attributes to age. With age comes wisdom, with age comes experience, and more importantly, with age comes hindsight. Over the past week or so, one of our venerable counselors, Mr. Oscar Clark, has been disrespected in the public space. And I find that highly objectionable. Mr. Clark has had over 50 years of public service to this country. And never have I ever heard Mr. Clark's name mentioned in the same sentence with the word corruption. Never, ever. And I find it absolutely objectionable that there are people out there who are tarnishing this gentleman's name. Now, there are some people out there who are very ambitious. They're pretenders to the throne, and they're very ambitious. And ambition is a good thing. But one's ambition must always be tempered with patience and respect. And I would like to put it out there that this disrespect that has been leveled against Mr. Oscar Clark, it must end, because that's not the way, certainly not the way I was raised, in terms of respecting our elders and having some manners.
Well said, sir. Caller, you on the air?
Today.
Yes, caller.
Yes, my contribution is this. I mean, though these things are neither here nor there at parking meters, what I would like is there was some information in the media of recent which spoke about the integrity of this man, Mr. Kush, and the company where the space in the States was an empty building. No business like this didn't exist. I would like for Mr. Kush to, put up his credentials and show the nation where has he made a successful business before, what has he been doing in the past that has been successful. I would like for some kind of light to be shed on this man, who he is, where he comes from, and his capabilities and these things. Because this country has been riddled with people who come, present good, shows and these things, like the traffic lights, and then all of a sudden they disappear. We have the same thing with the specialty hospital. The guy in these people has been ripped off. The people gone with him out of the specialty hospital. And it seems like we're going down this path again. I'm not saying that he is, but I'm just, to distinguish himself.
Were you looking at the program, caller? Were you looking at the program all the time, or you just?
I was looking at the program all the time. Yes.
Well, we mentioned that, we talked about that earlier in the program, but I'll ask him to repeat it if he can, for your sake, huh?
Okay, good.
Here's one thing I would tell the gentleman. Thanks for the call, by the way. Here's something you need to know about me in terms of my pedigree in this country. I'm the man who in 1999 restored the 1763 monument that was about to be destroyed by the previous administration. When it comes to cleaning up this city, when it comes to reimagining our city as the garden city it once was, I am the guy who started this process. This whole process of dysfunction in Georgetown, it's a long process. It started in the 90s. And here we are. But I recognized and understood the dysfunctional path along which we were traveling. And I stepped in and stepped up and did my part in 1999 to preserve and save the 1763 monument. And that's about all you need to know about me in terms of my commitment to this country, in terms of my commitment to this country, and in terms of my, my patriotism, in terms of my nationalism in Guyana. That's all that you need to know about me. Thank you so much.
All right. Caller, you on the air? Hello? Hello? Oh, there's no one there. Well, that's why I asked you the question, are you here to fleece Guyana, Guyanese out with the little pocket change that they have with this parking meter? And you answer that question that you're not there, which they to contribute to the development
No,
of
but
Guyana.
I think what's important for your viewers to understand is that I'm not an unknown quantity in Guyana. I'm well known in this country. And I put my neck on the line in this country way back in the day to move our country forward, to keep our country on a proper path. And but unfortunately, you know, things happened, and I wasn't able to continue here.
All right. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Mr. Kush,
Yes, sir.
the gentleman asked a question just now, and I'm with him. I can understand that you're very patriotic. I've heard of you, the gentleman that, you know, may restore coffee. It's beautiful. But, Mr. Kush, what the gentleman is saying is that the previous administration brought in a lot of focus companies and ripped off the nation. All we are saying, or I would like to know, I'm sure that you're Guyanese, you're patriotic, you're not like the foreign company that the previous administration brought in and ripped off the country. But for me, I would like to know if if you have a registered business overseas, you have a company, that we can check in line, and, to see, that, you are exactly who you are. Well, for me, I am 100% with your project that you're about to launch, and I will tell you this. I know, because I've traveled, I know it's going to serve a good purpose. It's going to put the city in place, and the city is not going to be as dirty and confusing as it is today. But can you stop saying that is all the gentlemen need to know about you, that you restore coffee and your interests in Guyana? For us, if we all go about saying that all our interests is about Guyana, what benefit will it benefit people that have no further knowledge of us? Come on, Mr. Kush. Make it more expressible.
All right. Okay, caller. We're going to ask him to respond, eh? Mr. Kush.
National Parking Systems is a registered company in Guyana. So is Smart City Solutions. It's a registered company in Guyana. As I said, we are part of a global consortium that's involved in energy-related projects, involved in renewable energy, involved in hotel development, also involved, of course, in parking in Mexico City, in Panama, in Argentina, in Peru, in Turkey. So it's a consortium. It's a global consortium. It's an amalgamation of companies. Our mantra is strength through collaboration. So you're not going to find any, as I said, it's not a singular entity operating out of some address somewhere in any part of the world. It's a consortium of a multitude of companies involved in different activities. And that's what I'm part of that. I'm a director of Smart City Solutions. That's it. And that's what I do. The mayor and town clerk and council clerk and council junior guard, they visited Mexico. They visited Panama City. They saw our operations, and they're satisfied with it. And that's all there is to say.
All right. Caller, you on the air? Caller? Hello? Before they muted the TV, they came on feedback. So before you get on to us, just mute your television and then talk to us, all right? So we have like about 4 minutes more to go, so you have 4 minutes time to call and shoot your question to Mr. Kosher. Caller, go ahead.
A pleasant good afternoon, Professor Coach, and nice
Good afternoon, sir.
put together the old coffee man. But
Thank
seeing as you come from born on school, I feel the 20% should go up to 30. That I have to say.
You know what though? No. Seriously, I mean, that's an interesting comment. But the contract stipulates that, down the road, once we roll out, we can go back, the city can come back to us and renegotiate the terms. So that's not a problem. No, the 20% isn't going to run for the entire 49 years. I think, let me clear that up. The 20% is only the initial period because, because of our investment, we need to be able to recoup our investment over, a very short period of time. Because the first 4 or 5 years, we're not going to be making any money at all. But once we start to make money, within 10, 15 years, then we will go back to the city and renegotiate. So that's not a problem at all. So please understand that. The 20% is not for the entire 49 years. That will go up. That percentage to the city will go up.
All right. Caller, you on the air?
Yes, people cannot be annoyed when people are talking about councillors and corruption at the constabulary because they service their friends. You understand what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. You cannot be annoyed. As a lot of things goes on inside of that place there. You got to go past a lot of people when you're trying to complain. You can't get your point over to them. You understand?
Okay.
Even the present mayor, because of the mention, I'm not going to talk about it on here.
All right.
They're trying to block you from whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Well, that's for the mayor to respond. We can't.
Yeah,
really,
I can't comment on
we
that.
can't comment on that at all.
I can't comment on that.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, Mr. Kush, remind our viewers what is it that you're offering to the Guyanese people, and who are going to be benefiting from this program with Smart City Solutions?
We are offering young Guyanese jobs. That's what's needed here in our country. Young Guyanese will be getting a minimum of 100 direct jobs will be created from this project. And then, of course, the indirect jobs from the contractors that we'll be hiring to install the meters, to paint the signs, to paint the streets, etc. So that's what's going to be happening. That's the direct benefit. And I want to make this point. I spoke to someone yesterday about this project. You're going back and forth whether or not the project is needed, etc. And when I mentioned jobs, he says, well, why don't we, they don't have to be hired by parking. You don't have to put parking and hire these young people. Let them clean the trenches and cut the grass. And that's pretty shocking to me. I mean, I just couldn't believe that there are people in this country who believe that our young people should just be relegated to cleaning trenches and cutting the grass. Mm-hmm. And then the person, kind of like try to analogize and says, well, hey, cutting grass and cleaning trenches is not bad because in New York you have sanitation workers. Then I had to point out to him, sanitation workers in New York City are unionized, they have benefits, they have a pension, it's actually a career path. They can actually work there for 30 years and retire with a sizable pension and live their lives and support their families and send their children to school. We have to get away from this notion that the only thing that our young people should be doing is cutting grass and selling newspapers and selling mitai and paluri. We have to begin to create opportunities for our young people where they can live productive lives, earn livable wages, support themselves and their families, be promoted, and retire with a respectable pension so that they can live their lives comfortably in their old age. I mean, we really need to step away and think outside of the box and really think higher, have higher expectations of our young people. And Smart City Solutions, that's what we are doing. We believe that our young people have the capacity, the potential, the capabilities of working within our company and making a contribution and earning the kind of wages that will be necessary for them to support themselves and their family.
Just for the record's sake, when this program will roll out and develop for 49 years, if other municipalities see the need to have Smart City bring in parking meters into their into their district. Would that be a part of it as well? Like,
Of course, we'll negotiate with Linden, we'll negotiate with Bartica, we'll negotiate with New Amsterdam. I mean, we have to look at the metrics, we have to look and see whether or not it's feasible. Whether or not there's enough spaces, there are enough spaces, to make something viable.
right. All right. So, well, our time is up. Mr. Coach, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you, sir.
Evidently, you are tough enough.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's our program for this evening. We wish you all the best as you continue the rest of the week. Stay safe, and God bless you.